From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, April the 2nd, 2025. A drone was launched at southern Israel this afternoon. The IDF said sirens sounded in the area of Kisufim due to a hostile aircraft infiltration from Gaza, saying the incident ended with no injuries. The IDF is expanding its operation in Gaza. Israel's Minister of Defense, Israel Katz, saying today that the goal of the operation is first and foremost to increase pressure for the release of all the hostages in the face of Hamas's refusal. Expanding the operation this morning, he said, will increase the pressure on the Hamas murderers and also on the population in Gaza, and advance the achievement of the sacred and important goal for all of us. Katz said, I call on the residents of Gaza to act now to remove Hamas and return all the hostages. This, he said, is the only way to end the war. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the IDF was increasing the pressure step by step on Hamas so that they will give us our hostages. And as long as they do not give them to us, the pressure will increase until they do. The IDF, meanwhile, carried out a number of airstrikes in Gaza last night and today, eliminating terrorists and terror infrastructure, including, it said, Hamas terrorists hiding inside a terrorist command and control center in the area of Jabalia, saying the compound was used by Hamas to plan terror attacks against Israeli civilians and IDF troops, and served as a central meeting point for the terrorist organization. Noting that prior to the strike, numerous steps of surveillance and intelligence were taken to mitigate the risk of harming civilians. A former Israeli hostage was honored last night by the U.S. State Department. Amit Susanna received the State Department's International Woman of Courage Award in a ceremony hosted by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and First Lady Melania Trump. Susanna was abducted by terror group Hamas during the October 7th massacre and held captive for 55 days. 55 days, she said in her remarks, of fear, of pain, and of being stripped of every freedom I once took for granted. Susanna is the first former hostage to have spoken about the sexual violence she also endured in captivity. She said, I vowed that if I would survive, I would never be silent. I would speak, not just for myself, but for every woman who had been silenced. And in her remarks, Susanna stressed that time was of the essence for the 59 hostages who are still captive in Gaza.
It is an incredible honor to stand before you today, but it is also a deeply painful moment. While I am here, my friends remained in the darkness. 543 long days and nights. They are still suffering, still waiting, still hoping. Their voices remain unheard, so I will speak for them. We cannot move forward until they are free. This award comes at a critical moment. The hostages cannot wait. Every single day that passes is another day of unimaginable suffering. With every passing moment, their pain deepens, their hope fades, and their chances of survival diminish. I call on the world to act, to bring them home now, not tomorrow, not next week, now.
Well, a Salute to Israel event took place this week in Queens, New York. A gala concert celebration called Am Yisrael Chai, celebrating the legendary Saul Zim's 60th anniversary of being a cantor at Congregation Etz Chaim in Bayside, honoring the State of Israel and the Jewish people, and held in loving commemoration of JBS founder Rabbi Mark S. Golub.
Mark possessed an incredible warmth, passion, knowledge, Jewish insight, respect for all, and a tremendous love for Israel and our Jewish heritage.
Saul Zim presented Mark's daughter, JBS President Dara Golub, with a plaque in his honor. And the musical concert included a full symphony orchestra with maestro Ophir Sobol, Italian guest artist Luca Minnelli, and of course Cantor Zim himself, who was joined by the representative cantor of the State of Israel and IDF chief cantor Shai Abramson, who traveled from Israel to be at the concert. The two performing an array of musical numbers, including a moving Jerusalem medley. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS. For Wednesday, April the 2nd at 7 o'clock, David Harris speaks with former British Army officer Andrew Fox, research fellow at the Henry Jackson Society, about Israel and the existential threats it faces. At 7:30, Rabbi Ethan Tucker offers sources, framing, and reflection on contemporary questions of Jewish power, responsibility in the land of Israel. At 9, it's Gary Kenzer on L'chaim. At 10, it's the ILTV's Insider. And at 10:30, an encore of the news. And coming up next, it's Thinking Out Loud. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, April the 2nd, 2025. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.